questions coming through. I'm telling you now, everybody out there, if you've got a question, call right now, 9722 9981, because we'll be raising all of these questions. There's the phones ringing now with Craig BRADDY after 11:30 for Footy Forum.
Barb's got RSI from looking at the phone up this morning.
Keep the calls coming through. We want to fill up a full half hour with Footy Forum this morning. Questions on the finals series. Yesterday, Bayswater 9-8-62 lost to East Burwood 14-13-97. Adam Slater kicked 3 for East Burwood. Stewie Wine kicked 2. Justin Cow 2. Cameron Houghton 2. The 3 best for the Rams: Chad Nielsen, Cameron Houghton and Derek Coghlan. For Bayswater, Cameron Gillette kicked another 4. Luke Barclay kicked 2. The 3 best for Bayswater: Cameron Brownhill, Scotty Peacock and Big Jack Marshall. We will be hearing from Alan Richardson, Adam Slater and Derek Coghlan in a few moments' time. We might go to that straight away, actually, Normie. One question I just want to ask you straight up. Gary Milligan, did he play yesterday?
No, he didn't play, and I don't think he's very far off, but decided at the last minute
not to play.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for clearances and everything else, but he said he's fit and ready to go, but he just didn't feel quite right yesterday, so as a result he's didn't play, but coached pretty well from the sidelines.
Normie Wright was at this game yesterday. East Burwood got home by 35 points. After the game, Normie caught up with Alan Richardson, Adam Slater and Derek Coghlan.
And if I can, just before I asked him a question, Alan, about the final situation at Waverley, and he's given a very interesting reply to it, which may have be of interest to a lot of people.
Let's hear what they had to say after the game yesterday.
In the East Burwood rooms, I have with me Alan Richardson, the coach of East Burwood. Well, another satisfying win for you today, Alan. You put under a lot of pressure by Bayswater today. There was good, strong tackling. They probably didn't finish off as well as you fellas did, but it was a good, even contest.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Norm. They really were hard, not only at the footy, but also hard at us when we won the ball. So full credit to them. You know, when you consider that they've got a couple of fairly important players still out of their mix, you know, they're certainly going to be thereabouts come September or August or whenever it is this year, and I'm sure they'll be one of the sides to beat.
Yeah, well, their performance was, I thought, reasonable today in the fact that they didn't allow you to get away, and you've had some pretty good wins over the last few weeks, and a good tough contest like today would have made a big difference to you, I'm sure. And also the return to the game with Stuart Wind up forward and Justin Witcher too on the wing played well early.
Yeah, no, they're both good contributors. They both came back last week, actually. Normie, Stewie kicked 10 against Mitcham. Justin played really well, probably got about 25 possessions, rotating between wing and half forward. And yeah, those two were really good contributors again today. I think that young Williams does a really good job on Stewie, and Stewie did well to be able to get clear, particularly early in the game, and some score on the board for us against the wind. So we're pleased with where those two boys went.
And question without notice, Alan, about the final series. You played them here last year. Ground conditions today I thought were pretty good. It was an ideal day for football as well. Going to Waverley Public, your thoughts on that? Yeah, well, sorry if I could just say, you've got to get there first, and although I think you'd be starting red-hot favourites to be one of the two teams.
Yeah, look, we're certainly aspiring to play in the last game, but we know there's a lot of work to do until then. But just my thoughts, I suppose, on the finals. To be honest, I haven't really looked at it. I believe that it gets rotated between a number of grounds prior to the grand final, and then the finals are at Waverley. Oh, look, I think it's fantastic. Just we're lucky enough to play at Waverley quite a bit, and fantastic ground in terms of being able to get a little bit of space. You know, we think we've got some leg speed in the right areas, and we think it'll certainly do our cause no harm. I think it's just a fantastic opportunity for the league. Obviously, well done to them to be able to pull that off, and we're really looking forward to it, but are realistic enough to know that we've got a lot of work to do until then.
Yes, and obviously you'll treat your play differently because of the night game as well.
Yeah, look, I mentioned to the players after the game today, you know, just so that we weren't dwelling on the fact that, you know, a bloke's going to be fit enough to play on the big ground, and what about the lights? But everyone trains under lights, you know, we all use the yellow footies. Okay, these lights are a bit high, which probably makes it a bit easier as opposed to being a bit closer to eye level. So I think, look, as long as we can get some access, most clubs will be trying to do that, whether it be at Waverley or a ground with similar sort of lighting, so that you can perhaps get a little bit used to it. But no, I don't think it doesn't really hold any fears to us.
Well, very good. Thanks very much, Alan, and congratulations on a very, very good win today.
Thanks, Normie.
I'm now talking to Adam Slater. A terrific game for you, Adam, and coming back from Box Hill, going to East Burwood again. It must be a real feeling for you today, because there's a family atmosphere here. Your family was watching.
Yeah, my family comes every week. They sit in the forward pocket at most games. Mum and Dad and grandmother and grandfather come. Grandfather's been transporting me around when I was young, under 19s and that, so he's been there the whole way through.
And your sister Amy, she met me too there while I was walking around the ground after the game.
Yeah, she's a devoted East Burwood follower now. She's followed me around for all the years as well, yeah.
And the game today, Adam, you alternated in the ruck, played centre half forward, which you've done in other games, and your marking, obviously your height is a big factor. The game was a tough game today, even though the scores may indicate that you're reasonably in command. It was still a tough game, and Bayswater did really fight pretty hard.
Yeah, every time we play at Bayswater, they're really hard to up at the ball and hard in the packs. And it's really hard to get loose and create loose players. So every time we come up against Bayswater, we do expect a pretty hard contest today, and today was no different. And
big Richard Smith in the ruck. Well, I shouldn't say this, you're a bit bigger than me, but I thought he won the tap outs at the centre bouncer. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I did. Actually, in the first quarter, they won all 6 centre breaks. So Richo said at a quarter time, we really tried to work hard in the second half to change that around. Actually, with Rick Smith, I played junior footy with Rick down at Richmond. So had a bit of rivalry down there, trying to compete for the one position, and it's been really good to play against him again here today.
Well, would you prefer playing at half forward?
I prefer to run around half forward, but I think I'm more suited to the ruck at this club.
Well, I thought you played a terrific game today. Adam, thanks very much for your time. And, well, I suppose now you've got to look forward to the finals coming up. They'll come up fairly quickly, won't they? Because there's another 4 or 5 games to go, but all of a sudden they're there.
That's right. We've got Scoresby next week and then next Ringwood, so a couple of tough games coming up. Hopefully we can win both of those and finish 1 or 2 ready for the finals.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Norm.
I'm now with Derek COGHLAN. Derek, you must have knocked out getting kicks today. Must have got about 30. It was a fairly tough game, as I mentioned to the boys. Bayswater really did serve it up to you people today, but they couldn't convert as well as you thought it was. But your kicking, you must have got, as I said, a million kicks today.
Oh, we come off last week. It was a bit not as intense, and the intensity this week it picked up. So we were in a good hard game to start off with, and they were up to it early and came out firing, and we had to stick with them and run away with it and just play good pressure footy. So we kept the pressure on them.
Yeah, the terrific day for footy, wasn't it? How'd you find the centre?
Oh, they've had the covers on it. It's been good. Best ground that we've played on recently. It had good footing. We could run both ways. It was good for the game.
And I didn't twist your arm to say that, did I, Derek?
No, they were beautiful. No, we can play cricket on next week.
Well, I don't think we'll bat. No, I think we'll bowl. But getting back to the game, as I said, I think the difference may be because of a bit of finishing by East Burwood, more options up on the forward line, because Bayswater had plenty of good run out of rinse, but they didn't get it over the centre half forward as effective as you people did.
Yeah, we putting a bit of pressure on the opposition going to the forward line. They had a good couple of strong marking forwards up there, so we had to keep the pressure on them, and that sort of helped us out in the end.
Well, things are going along pretty well. That's a tough game for you today. Got a couple coming up against Scoresby, I think, and East Ringwood, so that'll give you good conditioning for the finals. And with Stewie Wine coming back, Witcher coming back, and 1 or 2 others to fit in, it means you're in the home stretch.
Which I had a few senior players missing early, and good quality players coming back in the side, and just need that intensity to run home for the finals, which the next couple of weeks to go be good.
Yeah, okay, thanks very much, and congratulations on a terrific game today, Derek.
Thanks very much.
Well done, Normie, catching up with Alan Richardson, Adam Slater and Derek COGHLAN yesterday. East Burwood, 35-point winners over Bayswater. What other news from the game do you have?
Oh, just a couple of things I'd like to mention. That Matty Nunn had been playing with Bayswater this year. In fact, it's quite an interesting story there, because he hadn't played for about 10 years, played junior footy, came back and played and went into the first and did a very good job. Well, during this week he'd been in intensive care for about 3 days, and he won't be playing again, so we wish all Matty...
Nothing bad, or...?
Well, okay, he's got...
Obviously intensive care, it must be pretty serious.
It was, but he's okay, and but he won't be able to play footy again, so to Matty, we wish you the best of luck. And they had it up on the notice board, on the electronic scoreboard, and a couple of other things at half-time they had, because there's a lot of comment we mentioned at the start of the game, start of the program this morning, and the scoreboard, or the sign on the electronic scoreboard.
Is this about the finals?
About the finals.
Leave it for Craig. Leave it for Craig when he comes in, because there's a couple of very interesting things.
Yeah, no, there was just a couple of comments that were passed. That's fine. And just one other, two other things. Two people I met there. Lenny White, an old past player for Bayswater in the 50s. I played with Lenny. He's 70 years of age, he told me. And he was down there,
which was yourself.
Yeah, that's right. But he was a terrific player and supporter of Bayswater in the old days. And we mentioned on the tape actually when I spoke to Adam that his grandparents were there, his parents, and I didn't meet his parents, but his sister Amy were there. So good morning to them. They listen in. They're good supporters of our program here, and that's what community football is all about.
Absolutely. Now I've got a question for you on Adam Slater. You've seen a fair bit of First Division this year, obviously a lot of East Burwood in recent weeks. Is Adam Slater the premier big man in the competition at the moment?
Well, certainly he's the best I've seen this year, yes. I don't
Peter
think...
Reese would also be up there, wouldn't he, from Noble Park?
Yeah, they're different types. He's taller. And Adam Slater takes a big mark, and when he alternates between in the ruck and half forward, they brought Walsh on again in the first, no, it was at quarter time, and Adam went to centre half forward. Well, 3 goals. He kicked 2 in that third quarter from memory, or 2 in the second quarter, and he was a big difference up there. Although I thought the Bayswater defence was terrific, they ran the ball out probably a lot cleaner at times than East Burwood, but East Burwood probably did it a bit easier, if I can say that. But yeah, he was a very good player. I think he was beaten in the ruck at the tap-outs, and on the tape it came out when he even mentioned that, but Smith beat him in the tap-outs at centre bounces, but he's such a big man.
Second question from me, Bayswater are 1 week short of a Scoresby situation. They've lost their last couple. Mind you, they've come up against some better opposition, but Bayswater certainly need to press home that advantage that they may have over Scoresby now.
Well, probably. Well, they've been lucky, in fact, that Scoresby have dropped those games, so it still gives them a sniff to get in. I think that they have lacked it over the recent weeks, although they played very well yesterday, and the scores really weren't a great indication of well, it probably were an indication, but I thought that they had opportunities to win it. They were well in the game, but just in that third quarter, East Burwood got away. There wasn't much between them. They can't afford to have injured players. They need Milligan back, of course, and which he'll be back the next few weeks. Probably playing up forward. Rick Smith's doing so well in the ruck, but just those 1 or 2 players short of matching it with East Burwood. Well, they've beaten Vermont, but haven't been able to match. They matched East Burwood yesterday, but certainly not good enough to win.
Then, Normie, time permitting, of course, we're running out of time and eading into Footy Forum, but of course, one question from me. We spoke about this last night on Eastdale Subaru's post-match. At half-time, it was 10 points of difference. What happened?
Well, I thought in the third quarter they came out and Cameron Houghton took a mark, smacking the goal screen amongst the group, kicked a goal, and then he kicked one off the ground. They were not easy goals. It was a good play by Houghton, and I wouldn't negate his efforts there, but a couple of lucky ones. And I must mention, and I have never ever done it before, if my memory, but I thought the umpiring yesterday was not very good, and no excuses. I thought it didn't affect any side, but in that third quarter...
Should have been at Colonial on Friday night.
No, the umpiring was terrific there. I think that in that third quarter they become really, one was technical, the other one was too slow, and I think also they didn't favour any side, and that's not saying anything, but the players became unsettled, and it ruined a very, very good game, a good game of local footy. So that was the difference, and they kicked, I think, 5 goals in that third quarter, East Burwood. Those 2 early goals from Houghton at the start of the quarter gave them that breakaway, and the highlight of the game, if I can mention, just before half-time, Barclay came running out, and he took this huge leap, 50 metres out, smack in the middle, and if you're standing on the boundary of Bayswater, there is a hump on the ground, if you like, and you're looking up virtually at him because he's that high in the huge pack of players. Siren he went back and kicked it from 50 out, but really gave him a bit of impetus for Bayswater in that for the third quarter, but it didn't happen, and they were just too strong in the end.
Normie, Kevin Smith's on the phone for you. Let's move on quickly.
Well, no, that's as I see it.
Comment. Okay, quick break. Coming back, Footy Forum, Craig BRADDY to join us as we go out to the break. Pizza lovers, who am I? Are you ready? 97229981's the number. James Gersman's gone missing in action, so maybe the Where's Wally Gillette pack We'll go to our best question today for Footy Forum.
Well, I don't think you send it out to Dean because
a
bit of a worry.
we'd be concerned about that.
9722 9981 Footy Forum questions, plenty of them. More if you like. Get onto us right now. Pizza lovers, who am I? I'm a former league best and fairest. I'm a former Gillette award winner.
Oh.
And I'm a key position player. Andrew. Pizza lovers, who am I?
First division?
No. Steve?
Second division?
No. Normie?
Oh, well, I was going to say, was he on the air before, but...
it's not first division, not second division.
Does he play with Templestone?
I should say, I'm currently not first division or second division, but my awards...
Were there, yeah.
...may have come in a different division. No, I do not play for Templestone.
And my coach?
No, I'm not. Former league best and fairest, former Gillette award winner. I'll give you a little bit of a clue here. 9722 9981 Pizza lovers, who am I? I won a league best and fairest in second division. I won a Gillette award in third division, and I'm a key position. Let's go to a break. We'll be back on the Footy Show right after this.
Club Warrandyte has arrived with full gaming room facilities. The bistro is open every day with great midweek specials and live music every Friday, Saturday and Sunday. For a great time out and some fun on the pokies, head to Club Warrandyte, Yarra Street, Warrandyte. Phone 9844 1199.
Why are pizza lovers the best? Because they use quality fresh ingredients. Their pizzas are great value for money, and they serve frothy cappuccinos, hot chocolate or cold drinks while you wait. They offer great deals on all takeaway and home delivery orders. Pizza lovers, open 7 days a week at Ferntree Gully, Wanturna and Mooroolbark.
Boral Quarries have been a long-time supporter of the Eastern Football League and the Eastern community. Boral Quarries are proud to continue their involvement in season 2000 as a sponsor of the Eastern Footy Show. Club Warrandyte, Pizza Lovers and Boral Quarries are proud sponsors of the Eastern Footy Show on 98.1 Eastern FM.
Back to the Eastern Footy Show this morning. The phones are running hot, and Frank, is that Voitier or Voulier? Norm, can you read that? Frank?
Voitier.
Yeah, it looks like it. From Croydon has won the Pizza Lovers. Who am I? Guess what the answer was, Andrew?
I would say it would have to be a Gavin someone. I couldn't remember now.
Yes, it was Gavin Smith. You've done that twice to us, Normie. Thank you very, very much. It was Gavin Smith.
Just keep that red light on in front of me so I know I'm there.
We've said before, Normie thinks he's here. He's ready to push the buzzer. He's trying to guess the answer. Yeah. Well done, Frank. It was Gavin Smith this morning.
I want half of that too, Frank.
Yes. And our thanks to Pizza Lovers. Footy Forum. Plenty of phone calls. You can keep them coming through on 9722 9981. More questions, please get them through to us. We're talking about the final series for season 2000. Joining us now on the Eastern Footy Show for Footy Forum this morning is EFL General Manager Craig BRADDY. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Justin. Morning, guys.
Morning, Craig.
Thanks for joining us. Obviously, the big announcement Friday and again yesterday. It's sweeping through the Eastern Football League. The finals series, just quickly to go over it again. 4th Division Mitcham, 3rd Division East Burwood, 2nd and 1st Division, the semi-finals and preliminary finals will be shared between Bayswater, Ringwood and Boronia, with the grand finals of 2nd and 1st Division, the Colts, the reserves and seniors to be played at Waverley Park. The big news is the 2nd Division Senior Grand Final will be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon, August 26th. The 1st Division Seniors will follow. It's a night game under lights at Waverley Park, 7:15 start. Before we get into the questions, I suppose congratulations to yourself, Craig, and all the organisation. And it is very big news, isn't it?
Well, yes, Justin. As I said yesterday, I think one of the most important part here is that it's just a fantastic opportunity for the Eastern Football League. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the players that will eventually be involved in the game, and I think that the promotion for the league and the opportunity is just too good to pass up.
Let's start with the questions. I know that a couple of the boys in here have got a few. We'll start with some callers this morning on Footy Forum, 9722 9981 if you've got a question for Craig. Not too many people leave their names and numbers, which is always the way with Footy Forum, but somebody has called up, Craig. What will the Eastern Football League be doing to publish these finals games to make sure a great crowd attends Waverley Park?
Well, there's actually quite extensive promotion that will be going on with it. As you may have mentioned earlier on, that the Football Victoria, or the VFL, is actually playing their grand final the senior and reserve grand final on Sunday afternoon. And so obviously they have an advertising budget and promotion budget that we'll be riding on the back of. But it's certainly from an Eastern Football League point of view, we have a website, the radio programs, local newspapers, the record, all of those sorts of things will be directed towards promoting when the games are played, the times that they'll be played, and also things such as the transport, etc. too.
And of course the Eastern Footy Show every Saturday morning on Channel 31. Anthony, somebody named Anthony is called up. How many clubs tendered for the finals? Now, whether that's, I'd say that's over all divisions, Craig.
Well, it's actually not quite the tender process that has been established over recent years. This year, because we did actually adjust the tender process in terms of we identified the grounds that we wanted to play finals with. So in actual fact, the clubs didn't necessarily nominate for a particular division, etc. We just said, look, are you guys interested in the various, in actually hosting finals, and then allocate the finals accordingly.
Of course, 97229981 if you have a question for Footy Forum about the final series for EFL General Manager Craig BRADDY, who's with us this morning. Another call, and I think Steve Reimer might be able to help this caller out as well, Craig. I know you just mentioned transport. Somebody has rang up and said the older supporters, some of them are unable to drive at night and they can't get a lift to the ground. What are they going to do? Interesting question, isn't it?
Well, it is an interesting question, and hopefully that they'll have some friends and family that might be able to go along to the football with them. But in particular, we are currently in negotiations with a number of different transport methods, and hopefully we'll be making some announcements with regard to special buses, etc., that will be coming down Stud Road and Springvale Road, etc., to the ground on the day.
Well, for that caller, I think Steve will be able to help out.
Yeah, I've made the offer, Craig, for anyone who can't get there. I'll be filling the car up, so they'll be able to come with me.
Here's $5 a head, Steve.
Yeah. That's right. I'll be charging a fee, of course.
He'll be giving them all a lift to the car and back. We've got a couple more questions from callers and a few more coming through at the moment, but I'm sure that Normie Wright, who's with us, would have a couple of questions. Normie?
Well, good morning, Craig. Just a couple of observations, and maybe you can comment on it. The electronic scoreboard at Bayswater there they have on it had a couple of items on it I noticed, and I made a note of them at half time. It said grassroots football Waverley with 4 question marks, and it said also the people's game is local, keep it that way.
Well, Norm, there's 2 things I think with regard to that. Firstly, I would think that looking at the maps, that Waverley actually is in the eastern region of Melbourne, and so I don't know necessarily whether it's not local, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And secondly, grassroots football, I think, is all about the people that actually go to the games and the players that are playing the game. Now, whether it's at at any ground, surely it's still grassroots football.
Any other questions, Normie?
Oh, well, it was just, that was just a comment. Well, I suppose that there's lots of questions, Craig, but the feeling at the game there was yesterday at the Bayswater, and with the East Burwood supporters as well. Quite a number of people mentioned that it is, well, not the games, not the ground they play on during the home and away series. It's different. Alan Richardson was very complimentary, if you heard his tape, and so I mean that's a feeling from his point of view. So that was just a question: is will the people get there? The clubs have 100 members, 200 members, and probably 1,000 other people who go and watch them each week in First Division, but 10,000 at the grand final last year. So a lot of supporters come from other clubs, and a lot of people just go and watch the grand final as it is. Is that going to have an effect on them?
Well, look, Norm, I would hope not. I would think that that the standard of football that is currently being played in all divisions of the Eastern Football League is sufficient to draw a crowd to. Well, certainly we believe
it's a good standard, isn't it?
To draw it to Waverley Park, exactly. I think that with regard to playing or finals at the grounds they've played on, look, traditionally we've actually rotated finals through various venues, and quite often a particular division will be playing finals at a ground that they don't normally play on during the course of the season either. So the fact that it's at Waverley Park, I really don't think is going to make a great deal of difference, given the fact that the 3 games or 3 grounds that we're using, those being Bayswater, Ringwood and Boronia, are very, very similar in size to Waverley. So in terms of any football game, and I think when you get to a grand final, really all you need is 4 sticks at each end and some grass in the middle.
And somebody to blow the whistle.
Absolutely, and I can guarantee that they'll all be there.
Craig. The phones are running hot in here. Stick with us. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more questions on the Season 2000 Final Series. EFL General Manager Craig BRADDY is with us. Quick break. Back shortly on the Eastern Footy Show.
Club Warrandyte has arrived with full gaming room facilities. The bistro is open every day with great midweek specials and live music every Friday, Saturday and Sunday. For a great time out and some fun on the pokies, head to Club Warrandyte, Yarra Street, Warrandyte. Phone 9844 1199.
Why are pizza lovers the best? Because they use quality fresh ingredients. Their pizzas are great value for money and they serve frothy cappuccinos, hot chocolate or cold drinks while you wait. They offer great deals on all takeaway and home delivery orders. Pizza lovers, open 7 days a week at Ferntree Gully, Wanturna and Mooroolbark.
Boral Quarries have been a long-time supporter of the Eastern Football League and the Eastern community. Boral Quarries are proud to continue their involvement in Season 2000 as a sponsor of the Eastern Footy Show. Club Warrandyte, pizza lovers and Boral Quarries are proud sponsors of the Eastern Footy Show on 98.1 Eastern FM.
Is your club having an auction or a sportsman's night? If so, let Melbourne Sports Memorabilia look after you. Make your job a great deal easier with a huge range of signed memorabilia. Save time, effort and money by using Melbourne Sports Memorabilia. They have a great range of sporting memorabilia, including sports from football, cricket, basketball, tennis, National Rugby League, all the way to horse racing, motor racing, Olympics, boxing and many more sports. All items are framed and come with a certificate of authenticity and a personal guarantee. Melbourne Sports Memorabilia. Give them a call on 9725 1651. 9725 1651.
This is not the end. There's no ghost from the past, but we can shake, have a little faith in us.
Welcome back to the Eastern Football League this morning. EFL General Manager Craig BRADDY is with us. And Craig, we thank you for your time this morning. We have plenty of questions coming through, so we better race through them in the next 10 minutes or so. What size crowd would you expect at Waverley Park? A caller has called in with that question.
Well, Justin, it's obviously very difficult given the fact that this is something that's never been tried before to accurately estimate exactly what the crowd will be. As part of our deliberations with the whole process has been to work back over a number of years. We went back 5-6 years and averaged out the crowds that we had for both first and second division. Now, given the fact that there obviously is a little bit of a crossover sometimes with people going to the first and second division grand finals, but specifically we've averaged around about 12 to 15,000 attendance to the two grand finals over the last 5 or 6 years. So what we'd like to believe is that we can actually start from a base of that 12 to 15,000, and then hopefully through our promotions and marketing of the weekend that we can actually build the crowd from there.
I actually think we should charge $5 a head for people to come into your office and touch the crystal ball.
Well, that's another question. What is the charge? Any difference?
The charge for admission, though?
Yes, Craig.
Actually, Steve's just had a caller come through with that exact question, Steve.
Okay, well, in actual fact, it is very pleasing to note that the admission charge will be $10, obviously, plus the infamous GST, so it'll be $11. But for that $11, you'll be able to get in to watch the two reserve grand finals and then two senior grand finals, which obviously has never been done before. The Friday night for the two under-18 games will be free admission. So for the princely sum of $11, you can actually go and watch 6 grand finals.
Just on that, Craig, I'll give the time. Second Division Colts under-18s grand final, Friday 25th of August, 6 p.m. start. First Division following at 8:45 p.m. That's at Waverley, of course. The next day on the Saturday, Division 2 reserves 10:30 a.m. Division 1 reserves 1:15 p.m. Division 2 seniors 4 p.m. and Division 1 seniors 7:15 p.m. Those times are yet to be confirmed, but that's the way it's looking at the moment. More questions. A caller has phoned through. Can you buy a seat in a super box at Waverley for the finals?
The super box, we do have the full availability of the entire stadium for the 2 days. We are currently looking at the ability for us to be able to adequately service and support the super box situation, but Yes, I can say that we are certainly looking at that, and I think that announcements with regard to that, there are 23 super boxes there, and we hope to be able to make an announcement with that in the very near future.
Craig, it's Andrew Conway. Just a quick question regarding the actual cost. How does it go back? Does the league actually hire the stadium for those 2 days, do they? Or?
Well, in actual fact, yes, in conjunction with Football Victoria, the Eastern Football League and Football Victoria are able to obtain the stadium through the AFL. And yes, there are charges involved, Andrew, and we believe that, as I said, that the promotion for local football, particularly the Eastern Football League, represents an opportunity that is just too good to pass up. As I said before, that for 6 grand finals at $10 plus GST, at $1.50, $1.60 a grand final, really is terrific value. And if we can get the people there, then the costs obviously won't be too prohibitive for us.
Certainly. In fact, the reason for the question is that I've got my 21st next year. I'm just thinking of a venue.
Obviously have a lot of friends, Andrew.
Hey, Craig, I've just been handed a question, and I'll fire off another one after I've asked this one. Food prices, AFL costs or not, and car parking, will you be able to park your car next to the ground for free?
Well, let's take the food prices first. The food prices we are yet to adequately determine, but as has been the case historically in the Eastern Football League, Bayswater, Boronia and Ringwood will be the host clubs in terms of the catering at the ground. It's not through AFL caterers, so that the prices that are charged there will be in conjunction with the clubs that are supplying the food and the drinks.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that Spotless won't be getting a slope.
That's absolutely right.
And what about on the parking, Craig?
The parking, we're yet to determine. There's 22,000 car parks there, so certainly the ability to be able to get your car into the ground and out of the ground won't be a problem. We are yet to look at being able to adequately determine exactly the extra costs that we'll be incurring because of the day. So there may very well be, we certainly, as I said, I stress again, we haven't determined this finally, but there may be a $1 charge that we'll be using through perhaps another club within the league to be able to assist them in raising some funds and perhaps also cover some of the costs of the weekend.
Or you can leave your car with Steve and he'll look after it for you.
Well, Steve, you might be able to use it to actually transport some more people.
Steve's fleet. Now, Craig, do you think this is a good opportunity as well, not only to showcase Eastern football, but also to send a message to perhaps the AFL that Waverley certainly isn't dead and buried?
Look, in terms of the AFL deliberations, obviously we're a number of steps removed from that, so I don't think necessarily we're aiming at actually proving a point to the AFL. However, having said that, I would like to encourage all of the people in the eastern suburbs and southeastern suburbs to perhaps vote with their feet. I mean, obviously, as a league, we believe that football in the eastern region is very much alive and well, and I guess if we can actually have a very sizable crowd there and one which makes people sit up and take notice, then perhaps there is an argument to say that a major stadium in the eastern suburbs really needs to be available to all people.
Yeah, Craig, one final one from me. I suppose you've thought of just about every logistical angle, but I suppose the hard part now is letting people know, because there is a huge amount of disenfranchised people who live out east who don't go to the football, and this would be a perfect opportunity for them to take in what we know is a quality product, and we just have to alert them to that fact.
Well, I agree with that, Stephen, and as I said, that we will be employing every method that we possibly can in terms of the marketing of the whole weekend and the promotion for that. I believe that we've got a few hooks to hang our hats on with regard to the fact that it could very well be the last night game at Waverley Park. Indeed, we're yet to find someone else who's actually played a regular season grand final under lights. We'll have 4 of those being played, so we really are breaking new ground, and hopefully those sorts of issues can come to the fore in the public forum and encourage some people to come along and just have a look and see what Eastern football's all about.
Craig, more questions from callers. I don't know where this person's got 3,000 people from, but that's what they've quoted. 3,000 people at Waverley Park. We're obviously expecting a lot more than that. The atmosphere is nil, and it's got here no car horns. Quality question.
Well,
will you be able to bring horns into the ground, Craig, the handheld variety?
Well, we won't be having any metal detectors at the ground, so I guess you can probably sneak in one of the old foghorns, I guess. In terms of the car horns, look, there has obviously traditionally been cars around the ground, But I should actually point out too that when you look at we mentioned Bayswater last year with a 10,000 attendance. In terms of the ratio of the cars to the people, there's really very, very few cars there, and I think that if players are going to be motivated by the fact that there's someone tooting their horn around the fence, then probably that side's got a little bit of a problem anyway. I would have thought that given the fact that if we can actually get a reasonable sort of crowd there, interestingly, the logistics of the ground, where you actually have a crowd between about 15 and 25,000, the human bodies obviously tend to absorb sound. So anything up to about 25,000, the sound actually echoes in the ground and creates a better atmosphere in terms of the noise. Over to between about 25 and 50, the crowd obviously, or the people, the bodies start to absorb the sound, and therefore the people need to make a bit more noise. Once we get over our 50, I'm sure we'll be able to make plenty of noise with that.
Yeah, very good point. Listen, one last question. The phones are still running hot here, so we may need to look at talking more about this in the weeks ahead, and we thank everybody for their calls. But one last question from a caller. Playing finalies at Waverley, if it doesn't work, will it be back at Bayswater in 2001?
Look, as I said before, the standard practice with the Eastern Football League is to assess all grounds, leading into the finals and the venues which we feel will be the best fit, not only for the people that are going to attend the grounds, but also for the clubs that are participating. So Bayswater, obviously, we're very pleased and very blessed, I suppose, to have such a good ground, along with Ringwood and Bronya and Mitcham and East Burwood, etc. And there are a number of other grounds that we could possibly host finals at. So yes, look, if regardless of whether it works or not, as I said, the opportunity for the players to be involved, for the coaches to be involved, and have the facilities and equipment that they've got at their fingertips to be able to play those games. As I said, it's just something that I'm sure all the players in particular will remember for the rest of their lives. In terms of club history, I think it'd be fairly and very nice for the clubs to be able to play in that and actually have a photo of the scoreboard at Waverley with their own club name up in the final scores of a grand final.
Absolutely. Craig, thanks for your time this morning. More questions next week on Footy Forum, and we do thank you for your time.
No problems, Justin. Thanks, guys.
Craig BRADDY, EFL General Manager. The call's still flooding through. We'll bring up more next week. Thanks to the boys in here, Normie, Steve and Andrew. Hope you've enjoyed this morning. Eastern Footy Show, breaking new ground in season 2000. We'll be back next week.
Summer's here.
Thanks to our sports team for presenting the Eastern Football League Footy Show. The team will be back at the same time next Sunday morning with more news and views.